And so for me, I knew coming into Hollywood, coming into Silicon Valley, it was owned by these gatekeepers who didn't look like me. And so I knew I'd either go the traditional route. If it's Hollywood, I go to CAA or William Morris and I start in the mailroom. I kind of work my way and grind my way and hustle my way to hopefully one day become an agent, become a partner, somehow become a producer, and somehow get to the top, but I'll never get to the top because there's always a glass ceiling of people that don't look like me who are never gonna let me into their inner circle. And I knew it was the same thing in Silicon Valley. And so for me, I always knew I can't wait for a seat at the table. I have to create my own tables. And I have to leverage my resources and my network and my hustle and my drive and my ideas to do it myself because no one else is gonna do it for me. And so that's why I started East West Ventures, then 88 Rising, then Stampede, then got to invest in Musical.ly, and now Triller's going to IPO, and now EST Media and Open, because I do not want to answer to anyone but myself and ultimately God. And for me, that's been, as a artist or a creator or someone, I think of entrepreneurs as creatives. Like, I always host hot pots, the Chinese hot pots. It's the most amazing experience if you never had a Chinese hot pot. But every Web3 conference I go, I hold a Web3 hot pot. And what I love about hot pot, number one, it's the spiciest thing on planet Earth, Sichuan spice. And the moment you have 2 bites, your face just becomes numb. You're not yourself, and you're completely inebriated. And everything, the way you look, whoever you are, it doesn't matter anymore because you're not conscious. And what's amazing is it just and it's around always around a pot, so it's around a circle, a circular table most of the time, or it could be rectangular. But it's a very communal experience. And so whenever I go to different cities, this is before Web3 and the whole industry became this massive thing, I would constantly travel every week or two to a different city. And I would normally meet with 3 types of people: artists, business leaders, and people that were just doing interesting things. I would call them community specialists, whether they were a former CIA agent, or they were running an NGO, saving kids from sex trafficking, or they were, doing work that was God's work. So I used to always just bring like artists and VCs and founders together, and entrepreneurs together. And I brought them together because I realized they're all very eccentric. They're all very enigmatic, like just creative people who have crazy ideas, or they're risk takers, or they're willing to do things that most normal people wouldn't be willing to do outside of their normal 9-to-5 that's safe. And so by the time we're done with Hot Pot, whether you're some major celebrity, artist, influencer with millions of followers on TikTok or Instagram, or you're some founder or VC creating new ideas or investing in new ideas, or you're some government former agent or social worker working for the UN that is like real life Rambos and heroes, everyone doesn't care who you are, what your title is. Everyone just wants to become best friends, love each other, do stuff together, and just become a community. And so the reason why I share that, back to your point, is whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an artist, whether you are a social worker, going out and doing things that are risk-taking and life-risking for the betterment of others, creativity is about disruption. Creativity is about risk. Creativity is about faith. It's about believing in something that you believe in that is not yet. Hebrews 11:1 says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. I always say faith is spelled R-I-S-K. So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an artist, you're constantly doing something that other people are not doing or have not yet done. So for myself, I'm always thinking as a risk taker, as an entrepreneur, as an artist, as a social worker, as a missionary, like, how can I create tools that will make what I do and what I haven't yet done possible? So that goes into every company I've started. It's been something that has not yet been done. And so open's a risk. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know, but that's why I'm asking the questions. Brian Rose, you've been literally persecuted, right? By YouTube, by Facebook, by Twitter, right? You've been canceled, you've been filtered, you've been censored. Like, how can I create for you a platform with real technology, real products and services that solves your pain points as a communicator, a content creator, a host, a truth speaker that isn't filtered, that isn't censored, right? So for me, if open can be the place for the Brian Roses and the Kanyes and the Joe Rogans and the Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s and the millions of other young people and older people who don't have a voice given to them by the current centralized platforms because it's not in agreement with their values or their principles or their worldview, then I go, okay, maybe I'm solving a real problem here because the world needs to hear truth, not something that is controlled, but something that is truly pure. And that's what I always have aimed to build. 88 Rising, no one believed an Asian hip hop artist from Asia making it in the West when I started the company. Universal, Sony, Warner, they were never gonna give me a deal. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to the Asian venture capital mafia, tell my buddies, Steve Chen, who's one of my first seed investors, founder of YouTube, and others, and said, give me capital. I know how to find the talent. There's YouTube, there's Twitter, there's social media. I can distribute without a major music label, but I need capital to create the premium content, to market and leverage these DSPs, these distribution platforms. And I know if I have the capital and I have the talent and I build the brand, we're gonna reach billions. And that's what's happened. We're literally just having our 5th music festival this weekend, Head in the Clouds at the Rose Bowl. 40,000 a year. It's like Asian Coachella. Okay, don't tell me that Asian music and Asian music artists are not in demand, not just by Asians, but by the rest of the world. BTS, Blackpink, Squid Games, everything everywhere all at once. You're seeing Asian content now proliferate and become mainstream, where in 2015 when I started 88 Rising, everyone was like, Asian YouTube channel? Asian what? When I started 88 Rising, before it was 88 Rising, I had to parallel it to another company that was successful at the time, no more. But at the time, I would go to VCs and I would say, I want to build an Asian media platform on YouTube. And they said, what's it called? I said, it's called Rice, R-Y-C-E. And they're like, oh, that's funny. And it wasn't because I was going to call it that. I would always say to them, have you ever heard of the company Vice? And they're like, of course. I said, do you know the current valuation? This is 2015. And they're like, 5 billion. I was like, yeah, we're Asian Vice, Rice. People started writing me checks. But again, it was like, hey, there's a youth media platform on YouTube that's reaching billions, right? And making hundreds of millions of dollars. Asia's the biggest population in the planet. How can you tell me that there isn't a market for Asia? I'm doing it again with EST. Create the most powerful and largest distributed media platform for Asian content and news. VCs, investors are all kind of looking at me in Wall Street like, well, we see it, we believe it, but how's this gonna, and I'm like, it's all good.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.